This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Let's talk about another story that's pretty big. It's a little bit off the beaten path. I don't know how much information you'll even have about it, but it's such a wild story. There's a report on the November 22nd New York Post that said federal prosecutors were investigating whether or not there was witness tampering and obstructed justice in the trial of Vince McMahon in July 94. The Brooklyn office reported as investigating television producer Marty Bergman and his wife, Laura Brevetti, who was the lead defense attorney in McMahon's trial, on the allegation that Bergman offered a key witness in the trial between $250,000 and $400,000, according to some government documents. Emily Feinberg, who was McMahon's former administrative assistant, was the government's key witness and told investigators about Bergman's offer. The FBI agents and an assistant U.S. attorney were interviewing witnesses regarding Bergman's conduct before the trial, and the investigation is said to determine whether Bergman pursued witnesses and potential witnesses against McMahon in an effort to change, taint, or discredit their testimony by inducing them to accept money as television consultants. What a weird thing. Leading to the trial, Bergman represented himself as a producer for 60 Minutes, Hard Copy, A Current Affair, and American Journal, while withholding that at the time he was living with Brevetti and working out of her office. A lot to unpack here. Most of this is not something a lot of our listeners are even interested in, but we know how the trial is going to wind up. Vince is going to ultimately be acquitted, but it feels like we're not done. We're still coming after different angles here. And this time the allegation is witness tampering. My goodness.
It absolutely silly, because the U.S. government didn't have a case. It spent millions upon millions of dollars trying to trump up a case without even putting on a defense. Vince and Titan Sports won in a jury trial. And again, the government's case was so poor that no defense was even needed. And it was a horrible waste of time, a horrible waste of money. And when you really dig into the government's behavior in this entire investigation, it's sad, and it's pretty shameful when you honestly look at it. As far as, witness tampering with whatever Feinberg, they were questioned and cross-examined in the federal trial. Why didn't that come out then? Why didn't she come forward with that then? Or the government, if they knew this was happening, why didn't they come forward with it then? It's just trumped up and silly when you look at it, because then it shines a light on the ineptness and the lack of case that the government actually had.
In your opinion, is this, just the prosecutors still sore that they lost what I'm sure once upon a time they felt like was a slam dunk case? Now they've got an axe to grind.
Yes, I do. And I can tell you from personal experience that the way that they actually treated me and how they did it, and the timing of what they did to me, and trying to get me to testify against Vince and trying to tell me what to say, and doing it while my dad was in intensive care with his chest wide open. The timing, it was an ugly, ugly ordeal. It was an ugly time in all of our lives. We lived through it and prevailed and are stronger on the other side because of it. And there are people that will never, ever know the lengths that the prosecutors and the government went to try to make a name for themselves. And the New York Post as well. It was an axe to grind.
What can you tell us about Laura Brevetti? It's not a name we've talked about a lot, but we have heard a few times here on the show.
Laura was Vince's, I believe she was the company attorney or I actually, she was either the company's attorney or Vince's personal attorney, one of the two. She was a tremendous attorney and a super, super nice lady. If I was, if I needed an attorney, she'd be on the short list.
Let's talk about something else that stood out in my research here. Vince McMahon attended house shows here in Cincinnati, Columbus, and the Meadowlands. And, I think Meltzer would say he usually only attended Madison Square Garden. Any ideas why Vince showed up to the house show? Is this one of those moments where he calls the Click or the Click calls him and he comes in, or is he just doing a pop in, or was it planned that he would make the loop to see maybe what he could do to improve it?
And so Meltzer was doing Vince's personal calendar at this time. So he knows that the only shows Vince only attends are Madison Square Garden.
So he was normally on the house show loop. I didn't know that.
He went to a lot of house shows.
I mean, I legitimately didn't know that. I'm not being a smart ass.
Yes, he did. I mean, he's a businessman. He goes out to view the product and see how everything's going. So yeah, Vince went to quite a few live events. So it's nothing unusual. It just happened to be whatever stooge or whatever fan might have seen Vince McMahon that bought a ticket for the mezzanine section and saw Vince watching the matches and called Dave Meltzer and said, "Oh my God, Vince isn't it? He's here, and it's not Madison Square Garden." And they made a story out of it.
Help me understand. Talk to me a little bit about when that Indianapolis meeting happened. We haven't touched on it a lot, but it does feel like something that we should mention, because in this era, we've got Hunter coming in, but it's not going to be too long. Sean and Razor are going to be out. Is this still sort of the Click era? Does it feel like they've got Vince's ear, and whether it's true or not, there is perceived heat amongst the boys?
Oh, I think that this was definitely during a time that there was the Click and those guys running together and hanging out together. Yeah, definitely this was during that time.
I just assumed that meeting in Indianapolis had to happen sometime in 95.
I have absolutely no idea. And again, that's, for Vince to go to live events, not unusual. And there were times when we would go in early to TV and we would hit live events.
What's Vince
business?
What's Vince looking for when he visits a live event? How is it different from a traditional live event? Are people just minding their P's and Q's a little more? Does he hold a meeting to rally the troops? Does he sit in the back? Does he try to hide in the stands?
No, he goes in and does business. He goes in and talks to talent. He goes in and watches the show, wanting to see how, when the only thing that you see is the television product, and you're not able to go out and see the live events that you're selling off of that television product, there was a difference in the presentation. You don't have all the bells and whistles that you have at television. So you want to go and look at what you're presenting to that audience that's buying tickets for it and see, well, shit, what can we do better to deliver a better product to the live events? How can we make this experience closer to what we're presenting to them on TV? And that's all. You go out and just try to make everything better as best you can.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.